Welcome to Building on the Light. I'm Tammy Renee, your host, and today I'm excited for our visit with my guest, Steve Galley. He does so many things. It's really cool. He is founder of Transform Now Coaching, co-founder of the Create, Transform, Become podcast, and the Stop Parenting and Start Coaching podcast. Both awesome messages in there for not just parents, but other people as well. He has a master's degree in counseling, certified. He's a certified performance coach and mental performance coach, podcaster, speaker, and author. And I'm really excited when I found this out. He has an upcoming book called The 3 Hourglass Questions. And I might just ask him about those things today. I love this. This is what he says. My mission is to help people experience joyful, meaningful transformations. And the best time to transform is always now. I love that. I love doing. I love building. And his favorite word, not surprisingly, is transform. So, with that introduction, I'd like to welcome Steve to our podcast. So, the first thing I want to ask, and I didn't really prepare you for this question, but when I read a short clip, a story that I think is one of your that is the preface, I guess, to one of your 3 hourglass questions, it made me really wonder. And so I wonder if you can just kind of talk about the 3 hourglass questions. What are those and what's that about?
Oh boy.
Oh, is it
Uh,
too big of a question?
no, no. I've learned how to condense it.
Okay.
Basically, it stemmed from a very bizarre medical incident that I experienced in 2020. And I was with some friends. We were escaping the COVID craziness and we had gone to Lake Powell in southern Utah over a Labor Day weekend and just decided, hey, let's get out and get away from the city and go have some fun. And I just experienced this crazy, bizarre incident where I thought I was having a heart attack, and my friend Alan, who was with us, he thought I was having a heart attack, and he we joke about it now, but he said while we were on the boat, I was just having this excruciating chest pain, and he said, I think he's having a heart attack. And then he proceeded to tell us that he had watched two other people die of heart attacks. So that was that was we
Oh,
like to say
man.
that was not a very heartwarming thing to say at the time, Alan. But and basically we got off the lake. It took us a long time to get off the lake. Lake Powell is a massive lake, and we were actually 60 miles in. And from where we were from the marina. And so end up I end up being transported to an emergency room that's really close to a place called Bullfrog Marina. And we end up uh I, the pain has subsided. I didn't feel great, but they're doing all these tests on me, and the emergency room doctor says, we need to get you to a trauma center. And I was really, really surprised because when I was on the boat, I actually asked God not to save me, but basically asked, Is this it? Can you tell me if this is it or not? Because if it is, I was with my wife. I wanted to uh I don't know what I would have done if the answer would have been, yeah, this is it. Today's the day. You kick the bucket. But I felt like I received a message that was, you are going to be okay. So when we were in the emergency facility near the lake, I was baffled when they said, we need to get you to a trauma center. And there was something with my heart rate. We found out later that it's just a weird, what they call a weird ventricular rhythm that is not that common among the population, but it's very common amongst runners, marathoners, triathletes. And I'm not a serious one, but I have been doing that the last 15 years. So, but she didn't know, the emergency room physician didn't know it. It took some trained cardiologists later on to say, "Oh, this is why they were so concerned." So, where the question came from was I'm riding on this medical helicopter from Lake Powell to a trauma center in Grand Junction, Colorado, and I'm wide awake and I have no idea what's really happening with my heart. And so it just and I'm flying over three national parks. The sun is setting. It's yeah, just this low, quiet hum of the helicopter. Another kind of odd thing is one of my former players, I was a high school coach for 32 years. One of my former players from the early 90s was one of the medical paramedics on the helicopter. Yeah. I didn't want to go to the trauma center. I'm very stubborn. I'm like I was told I'm going to be okay. I feel okay. What are we doing? Why is this happening? And he walked into the room. You could hear the helicopter land. He walks into the room, and about a minute later, he looks at me and he says, "Coach, coach, Coach Galley, Olympus High School. Is that?" And I'm like, "Oh my." And he's like, puts his hand on my wrist and says, "Coach, we got to go. I'll take care of you." So I'm on this helicopter ride, and now my question to God is, okay, I feel like, am I just completely out of it? I felt like the message was you're going to be okay, so why am I on this helicopter? And the answer was just about as clear as day. It just said you are going to be okay, but what will you do with your remaining time? And so I just later had I just later named it the first hourglass question because I think we have so many what I would call wristwatch moments. And I don't know if I don't wear a watch, but so I would say maybe more phone moments, right? We're always looking at our phone to see what time it is. And I thought, how many times are we looking at our hourglass, like and thinking about the limited time that we have and not knowing exactly how much time do we have left? So why don't we really get busy and be engaged in just in transformational things, things that are going to help other people, things that are going to help ourselves. So the more I thought about that, I thought, um, this is really good. This is really a dreamy question. What will I actually upgraded it. And I hope I don't offend the messenger, but I upgraded it to what will you create with your remaining time? So that's the first question. And and I thought I need to do something that's going to spring me into action. So I came up with the other two, and they're not really profound. I think the first one is more profound, but it didn't come from me. I did not make that up. But the second one is what is your attitude and your what is your present attitude and level of effort? And then the third one is what is your next best decision and action? And so it's through question number two and number three. And I try to live by these every day. I'm still working on it. But the question two and three really springs me into action and gets me into that present moment. And if I can answer those honestly, then I can adjust my attitude if it's not where it needs to be, or if my effort is not where it needs to be. And then the next best decision in action is like, okay, what can I do right now that's going to move the needle? So, yeah, those are
Right.
the three questions, and that's what I've been writing about in
I
this book.
love that. I love that. And it goes so well with the original message I saw that you had posted somewhere was 6 mental shifts that will change your life. And it was all about having confidence. And I knew they had to go together. I just knew they did. But I love that hourglass questions. And because so much of what builds our confidence is action, right? Doing. And I love that. So how did you come up? Is this 6 mental shifts for confidence? Is that part of an answer to that first question? Or had you already kind of started that before?
Well, going back to my coaching background as a high school basketball coach and working with my business partner who he's also a certified high performance coach. He's been a high school coach. The question that we get most often from parents or you hear from athletes is and and it's always amazing to me, Tammy. It doesn't matter if this is a really, really good athlete. You even hear this from the pros. They constantly talk about how they would like to have more confidence. Even if you view people and they look so confident and you just think, oh, everything's just right in place. Gosh, how come everything is so perfect for them? They are battling demons, they're battling voices, they're battling they're thinking about their past mistakes and their weaknesses. And so the question we constantly get is, oh, in fact, this is one from a real life mom a few weeks ago that I said, "What do you really want for your son? You want him to receive help?" She said, "I just wish he had more confidence." And so I just started doing some writing and I was thinking back on my past and the coaching and also thinking of things that if I were to do it over again, how would I be a better coach? And that's really where the 6 things came from was just these are these are just from an old coach looking back on 6 things that I wish I would have instilled better into my
Right,
players, my students,
right,
and myself. But
right,
yeah, they all of them are based on action. Because sometimes we think of confidence as, oh, I just like this mom. I just wish he had more self-confidence. And it'd be like, it would be awesome if you could just hop on Amazon, right? And just
Buy some confidence.
I will order a case of confidence and he can eat it, drink it, wear it, whatever, and it'll just be great. And that's unfortunately not how it works. I really believe you have to I don't some people call it a chicken and the egg thing. I think you have to do and you even have to fail
Right,
and make mistakes to eventually build confidence. I don't think you just because if I think, okay, I'm gonna feel confident, well, that's more just positive thinking, which by the way, I am 100% for positive thinking, but you've got to put some action to it.
right. And I love that. And the reason that I wanted to interview you and have you talk about it because even though your focus is on athletes, that's kind of your career and what you've done, but I feel like these shifts are important for all of us. And I love that, like with building on the light, right, being able to excavate the pieces of light that are in the hard things that we do and put them together and build on it, but it all takes action and it takes confidence. And for me, dealing with a lot of people that have had trauma, man, trauma can knock us on our heinies, as far as
Right.
confidence, because, there's so many intricate things about it, but I won't go into that. But I do love that You're all about taking charge and doing something. And all of us can, regardless of where we're at, we can take charge. I do believe some people are kind of born with a little more confidence. They kind of have a gift, but
Hmm.
it's just like I mean, if we're talking athletics, right? It's just like some people have more of a natural gift for baseball or basketball. My husband has a very natural gift for basketball, and he happened to grow to be 6'4", so that worked out well for him. But he still had to develop it. He still has to do the exercises. He still has to do the routines. He still, and I feel like that's in life. That's what we got to do. That's what I loved about these 6 shifts. I
Yeah,
love that.
I think you're absolutely right because the some people I like to say people start at different points, and if we can avoid the stupid comparison game, I like to
Yes.
call it
Yes.
OCD. I like to call OCD not obsessive compulsive. I call it obsessive comparison disorder.
Oh,
Yeah,
I love that.
somebody is going to have more confidence, maybe naturally, than somebody else. If we can quit looking at other people as a comparison and just look at them for inspiration and just start where
Oh,
you are. That's why the first thing of the six, I think, was stop waiting to be ready.
right.
Half the time, I think while we're getting ready, it's we're standing around looking at everybody else and thinking, oh, well, he's so much smarter. Or, oh, he has more money. Or, oh my goodness, I'm writing a book. And I'm like, well, I could be looking at you, Tammy, and I'm like, oh, well, she's already written a book. You know,
Right.
I'm still working on my book, which by the way, that's one of the hardest things I've ever had to do is, and I've even had help with it and coaching, and
It's hard
I'm
to
right.
put it all together, isn't it? To put all
It's
the ideas together and have the flow and have everything come back to the main points. And yeah,
yeah, it's gonna be a very rewarding thing when it's done because it's been difficult, but but I'm gaining confidence by
right,
continuing to
right.
do it, and uh, I'm kind of a perfectionist. So as I was doing the six confidence things, one of them is, focusing on progress rather than perfection. You, I would imagine you had to deal with that when you were writing your book.
Well,
I,
this is funny. I probably should have focused more on progression because it took me way, way long to write my book. But people loved it when like how
yeah.
it's written. However, I could have probably had it out 10 years earlier,
Okay, I
but
don't
they
feel
did.
so bad because I'm heading into year 4 from when I made my initial commitment that I was
Well,
going to
and there you
start
go,
it.
right? It's about focus on the progress. And I love that we're all in this together. We shouldn't be comparing puts walls. And I saw a post you did too about damming things up, damming
Right.
up our progress and comparing to ourselves to other people can be part of that dam. And and also demanding perfection of ourselves instead of just it's a journey. It's a journey. Enjoy the
Yeah.
journey, whether you're writing a book or overcoming a trauma or learning to be a better athlete. It's a journey. And I don't know that we ever really arrive to the place we think,
Mhm.
that so we need to find joy in the journey of it. Right.
Absolutely.
So I love that. So I love that also that first one about don't wait to be ready.
Right.
You don't wait to you just start acting. And I heard a long time ago, or maybe not that long ago, but something about God cannot steer a parked car. You can't steer
Right.
a parked car.
Yeah.
So anyway, don't wait to be ready. And what was the other one that you mentioned then?
Uh, trading trading perfection for progress.
Progress, right.
Yeah, focus on the progress rather than I like to use a football analogy of if you think of a long drive for a touchdown, say like a 90-yard drive, we all we all love the to see the highlight of a one play 90-yard drive, there's a long pass made and a great run and it's really exciting. But most 90-yard touchdown drives take 10 to 15 plays. And there might even be a loss. You might lose some yards on a play, and there's going to be some incomplete passes, and there might be some really mundane, boring 2 yard gains. But that's really where progress comes from is just the steady, just focus on taking action right now. What can I do? I mean, that's why I'm so nerdy and geeked out about the whole transform now. That's it's the my name of my one-on-one coaching practice is because I mean we coach parents of teenage athletes and we coach the athletes too, but I do a lot of one-on-one coaching with adults, and it's the principles are the same, the habits are the same. It 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 doesn't matter. You adapt, of course, to each client's situation, but yeah, it's like what can you do? Quit worrying so much about how much sand is left in your hourglass. Just focus on the grains of sand right now that are dropping. That's the present moment.
Oh, I love that. I really love that. So, four other mental shifts that will change your life. And by the way, I do have these printed out and pasted
You
on my
do.
refrigerator. I do inspirational quotes, and yours is it for now. So, can you tell us about the other ones, the other four?
One of the other ones is talking to yourself like a trusted coach. And I hope everybody listening has somebody, whether they're an official coach or not. I hope you have somebody that is that trusted guide, advisor, that sage in your life that can talk to you. Because sometimes we talk to ourselves in ways we would never say that to our friends or even a stranger. We would never talk to them like that. And so
Right, right.
I like to say, quit listening to yourself and the negative voices and influences and start talking to yourself. And I think the more you do that, that keeps you more grounded. Another one is I taught sports psychology for years, and I really, really love the concept of visualization. I really believe in it that
Right.
if we consistently view ourselves failing, well, we really increase our chances of failing. And the opposite is also true. And so visualize yourself having that tough conversation with your teen and having it go better than you ever imagined. Visualize yourself in that job interview. Visualize yourself uh, I don't know, asking that pretty girl out that's intimidating you so much and you're so afraid. So uh I call it rehearsing success.
Oh, I like that.
So and what and here's something, Tammy, that I really believe. Some people will say, well, I really don't do visualization. And that might be true in a formal sense. They may not actually be sitting down and doing a formal visualization session, but all of us are visualizing
Yep.
all the time. We have
Yes.
we have a big screen between our ears, and there's something on the screen all the time. And if we're not careful, we tend to go to the negative.
Yeah.
And so you've got to rehearse success. Thinking of the other two, one is, and this is a current football thing that a lot of coaches say, and I love the terminology. It's stacking wins
Right.
and actually keeping track. And this is not an arrogance thing. This is not a hey, look at me. It's not something you necessarily have to put out there to the world, but most of the times when we're thinking, oh, I'm just not doing enough, or I'm not enough, or I don't measure up once again to that stupid comparison game that we start playing. If you'll just ask yourself, what are three things that I have done well? We do this with our athletes all the time. What are three things that you did well this last week? And if it's a teenager, especially a teenage boy, they will sit there and they might even bring out the classic answer, I don't know. And
Right.
I always ask them, well, if you did know, what would your answer be if you did know? And then all of a sudden they will start naming things. And I'll say, well, tell me more. And then you get some more. And I said, well, I originally asked for three, and that is seven. You just gave me seven things that you have done really well. And that helps confidence to start compounding
Right.
and you grow from there. And then I think the last one is all about be prepared. I mean, we could just go to the old Boy Scout motto, be prepared. That I don't know about you, Tammy, but I know when I'm in a situation where I'm unprepared, like that does not breed confidence.
Right.
That does that just does the opposite. And so just focusing on preparing for whatever it is. If
Right.
you're putting in some preparation, then that's going to help you to build confidence. And I think,
Mm.
like we were saying earlier, all of these things there's verbs involved here. These are all
Action.
action things rather than just waiting for the magic confidence dust to
To
filter
happen.
down and land on your shoulders, and then it's like, oh, I'm confident. Yeah, that's
Right.
not how it
I,
works.
you know what? I really appreciate that you shared with even very successful athletes, like from looking at them, we would think, oh, see, they got it all going on. They got all the confidence and everything. And I really appreciate that you shared that they have their inner demons too. And they have their battles that they're fighting because I think we tend to, with whatever situation we're in, we kind of tend to be negative and we feel a little bit alone,
Hmm.
like we're the only ones that aren't good enough. You know, we judge ourselves so much harsher than we judge other people.
Mm.
And so I love that you shared that we can't judge people by what we see on the outside, for good or bad. You know, you never know what's really going on. And I love that. I love that acknowledgement that everybody has their inner demons and their battles that they're fighting, regardless of where they're come from, where they're going, or what they're doing in the present. But I also love that being in the present and not worrying too much about the future and how much time you
Right.
have left. And I'm a big proponent of, as far as the past, I'm sure it's like your football game analogy. You know, it failed, the class pass was incomplete, somebody didn't make the block, whatever happened, but you just start, okay, well, we're starting from here then.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, the past is the past. What can we learn from it? And then how do we just to keep going towards our goal? I love that.
That's the key. I mean, I've had some mentors explain to me that, do you know how to improve your past? You improve your past by having a big future and a really, really great present. If you just constantly focus on what you're doing in the present, you naturally improve your past. But yeah, it's got to be I like to say that it's more the past is more a glance in the rearview mirror
Right. Yep.
rather than a stare down and sit in it and sit in it and sit in it. And I know in the work you do, obviously the past is really a critical piece that they have to work through.
However, you got to face forward. That's what
Yep.
I have found. I can't avoid I mean, with PTSD and other mental health struggles that I have, I'm not gonna avoid I can't just leave the past in the past because it was never fully lived. It was never fully processed, right? And so what happens is I focus forward and these packages of gunk are in
Mm.
front of me. I'm not supposed to turn around and go to the past and try to clean them up. They're in front of me, which means, you know what? You got to work through it, process it with the focus on now and on the future. Like it's like recycling your garbage. I said this in my last interview. I call it recycling my garbage, right? You
Yeah.
bring it forward as needed. I don't need to bring every package that was in my past,
Right.
but the ones that are damming up my progress, I definitely need to get it out of the way, clean it up, process the emotion. Anyway, so you recycle it and you use it for something good. You use it for something good, just like the football thing. Okay, yep. Somebody forgot what they were supposed to do, didn't do it in the right time or whatever, weren't where they were supposed to be. But that's okay. You take that, you process how that affected, what happened, what was done wrong, and then, okay, what can I do different? So next time, right, it'll be more successful. So
Yes. Yeah, I 100% concur with that.
yeah. So um I think we have a few more minutes left, but I would like to know, I mean, you have a lot of great messages and I love that. And I love how you recycle, your experiences, good and bad, by sharing with other people. And I think that's really the best way to really cement our progress is by sharing with each other and making those connections. So I love that you do that. But you have a lot of good things besides just these awesome 6 mental shifts. But I always ask my guests, what closing message of hope do you have for our listeners in however, whatever situation in life, whatever journey that they're on? What would be a message of hope?
Well, I think to stay with the confidence theme, it would be that I I believe that everything is training for something, and that confidence is it's an actual skill, and if we treat it like a skill and a habit that it is, we will get better at it. And I I think this is the hard thing. So it's easy for us to sit here and say, okay, you've got to take action, right? But there's a high performance habit involved here, and that is the habit of courage. And it's not one that people often think about. I know Nate and I, it's part of a 6 habit system and framework that we use, and courage is one of the habits. And so I really don't have advice, but I do have question for any viewers or listeners, and that is I want you to think back to a time in your life when you exhibited courage. Now, some people, if they're really beating themselves up and they're really at a low point, they may they may really struggle with that question and say, "Well, I don't know if I have." I and I've been through this with dozens and dozens of people. I've yet to meet anybody, Tammy, that hasn't had a moment where they've had to exhibit courage.
Right.
And it'll usually be somewhat emotional for them because they will. Well, in fact, can I give you a quick story of a
Sure.
client, Tammy?
Absolutely.
I'm not going to mention her name, but she will. I'll change her name, but she really struggled with building confidence, and she's in a professional and business situation, or was, that was very stressful, like big time decisions being made about a direction to go, and she was really lacking confidence. And I asked her that question. Tell me about a time when you had to exhibit courage. I didn't even mention confidence. It was just like, okay, when did you exhibit courage? And boy, there was a lot of silence, and we really she had to think. There was a few things she said, but one really stood out to me, and this was, she goes, "Oh, well, when I was 17 years old." Okay, well, this woman is now 40-ish, and I said, "Wow, 17, tell me about that." And she said, "Well, I tried out for the Madrigals." at high school, which most people know that's like the highest level choir,
Right.
in a high school. And she said, I didn't make it. And not only did I not make it, it was like it was kind of a miserable experience. And she said, I walked out of that and just decided, okay, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get back in, to make madrigals, which the easy thing would be, this isn't my thing. Yeah, I want to do
Right.
it, but I'm not good enough. I got miserably rejected. She basically said she wasn't close. And so, kind of an awful experience for a teenager, but also she transformed it into a great life experience. So she just basically said, I'm going to do what it takes. And she got to work and she actually built the confidence by like taking the action, but it initially was so hard for her to demonstrate that courage. She had to demonstrate courage because in the eyes of the world, she was a failure. She wasn't good enough. And of
Right.
course, we have a happy ending to this story. She made the madrigals the next year, had really enjoyed that time in high school, still loves to sing, still loves music. And so now we refer to her, I'm just going to change her name, but we now refer to her as 17-year-old Lisa. So I'll just say, occasionally when we check in, I'll say, hey, how's, 17-year-old Lisa doing? Or if there's a little bit of a struggle, I'll say, well, maybe you need to go have a talk with 17-year-old Lisa.
Ah, I love that. I love that story. Thanks for sharing that. And courage. I love that too. What a beautiful addition to this whole quest for confidence, to have self-confidence. It starts with having the courage
Yeah.
to step into scary places,
And it's not
especially.
a it's not a lot. I mean, you don't have to bring a pallet of courage. You just have to
Right.
have a little bit to start, and then you can start stacking those wins and you start developing the habit and you start looking at the progress and you visualize that future. And it's basically, in fact, if you look at all of the six things, the six confidence things, the mind, she basically did all of those things.
Right.
She pictured herself being on madrigals the next year. She started
Right.
stacking the W's. She worked on the preparation. She didn't wait around. She just, it's like, okay, I'm gonna start. She started singing more, practicing more, got some help from a coach on to become a better singer. She made it happen.
Wow. Wonderful story. Wonderful stories of progress. I'm not even going to call it success,
Right.
progress, right? That's
Yeah.
really what it's all about. We are already successful if we're willing just to walk forward. So I love that. Thank you so much, Steve. And I don't know, as I peruse all of your wonderful messages, I might have to ask you to come again and share some of your wisdom. It's been wonderful having you.
Well, thank you very much. It's been an honor. And yeah, really, I've really enjoyed this conversation with you, Tammy.
Thank you. And thank you for our listeners here on Building on the Light. I hope you have a beautiful day.